Hi, I'm Eric Anderson. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, the National Rifle Association says every school should have an armed police officer. We'll tell you what San Diego police say about that idea. Also tonight, gift cards for guns. Thousands of dollars worth of cards traded for hundreds of weapons in southeast San Diego. And we already have one of the biggest urban parks in the nation, but it's about to get a lot bigger.
And coming up on our weekly roundtable, we'll find out which redevelopment projects survived the state's blockade on funding, plus what the city plans to fight for in those projects and the impact they'll have on San Diego's budget. I'm Peggy Pico. Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Dwayne Brown is off tonight. The National Rifle Association says armed police officers should be in every school, but the head of the San Diego Unified Zone Police Force says that's excessive. Today, the NRA ended its silence on last week's school shooting in Connecticut, saying the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Why is the idea of a gun good when it's used to protect the president of our country or our police, but bad when it's used to protect our children in our schools?
San Diego Unified has its own police force with 37 sworn officers assigned to more than 200 schools. Their chief says adding more wouldn't be smart.
Bad idea. Bad idea. We definitely want to look at school police officers. We want to look at more police officers in the city, but one at every single campus, everywhere, just seems to me to be excessive.
San Diego police say they are doing everything possible to protect children in local schools, even incorporating on-campus security cameras that can be accessed by officers in their cruisers. The school camera network is linked to a police system that also includes security camera feeds from more than 100 private businesses. San Diego Mayor Bob Filner says it's another way that the city is working for safety.
Operation Secure allows private cameras and private businesses to feed their live stream of security right into police cars. It helps our first responders. It helps our, obviously, any activity that the police are involved with.
Police say businesses sign up to permit access, and police can tap into those security cameras through a cellular network.
So if I'm going to a location, I can bring up this graphical map, and these little red flags are where my cameras are. So I could click on it, and I'd go to the link, and I'd click on the video feed. And for instance, this one is Hoover High School. San Diego Assistant Police Chief Boyd Long says an officer rushing to the scene could potentially get a lot of useful information from security cameras. He says the department has strict guidelines about accessing them.
The only time we'd be interested in viewing those cameras is if, in fact, we got a call to that location or we had a legitimate reason to think the video at that location is going to identify a suspect or solve a crime for us.
Now, Long hopes to dramatically expand the number of security cameras that the department can access by the end of next year. Cars lined up in southeast San Diego this morning to trade guns for gift cards. Police collected more than 360 weapons, including rifles, shotguns, handguns, even a submachine gun. Some people had more than one weapon to exchange for grocery store gift cards, and some came from as far away as Orange County. This is the 5th year of the exchange, and organizers say some gun owners were motivated by the Connecticut shooting.
The tragedy there has caused for folks to be more enhanced, have more of a sense that they really need to make changes and do something different.
All the guns collected today will be melted down. Organizers say they hope to expand the program in the coming months. A San Diego judge connected to another mass shooting says it is time to bring back the federal assault weapons ban. Just last month, U.S. District Judge Larry Burns sentenced the gunman who shot the Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords and killed 6 others. Today in the L.A. Times, Burns calls for a ban of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. He writes, "Don't let people who've already kept them keep them. Don't let the ones who've already been manufactured stay on the market. I don't care whether it's called gun control or a gun ban, I'm for it." Burns notes that he is a gun owner, but if I can't find a way to draw sensible lines with guns that balance individual rights with the public interest, we may as well call the American experiment in democracy a failure. A 61-year-old North County man is accused of making a phone threat today that locked down an Oceanside elementary school. Police say that he left a threat of a shooting on a voicemail system at Laurel Elementary. They traced the call to his cell phone, and they say they found no evidence of weapons. A federal appeals court has put the brakes on California's new law banning therapy aimed at turning gay minors straight. The law was supposed to go into effect January 1st, but now it's on hold until the court can hear full arguments on the issue. A San Diego pastor is among the group challenging the law, claiming it violates their First Amendment rights. The newest unemployment numbers are signaling recovery for San Diego and for the state. San Diego's jobless rate dropped to 8.3% in October, down 0.3 of a point from the month before. It is the lowest unemployment rate for the region since December 2008. And the statewide jobless rate dropped below 10% for the first time in nearly 4 years. The new number is 9.8%. Once again, a drop of 0.3 of a point from the month before. San Diego County's pension board's decision to pay its investment consultant up to 5 times more than the current contract is raising eyebrows. KPBS reporter Allison St. John spoke to the head of the pension fund and the county treasurer, who's calling for an independent assessment of that contract. Allison, what's the background of this?
Well, Eric, the county hired a private consultant, Lee Partridge, 3 years ago to manage their multi-billion-dollar pension fund. His fee at the time, over $1 million a year, was several times more than the county employee that he replaced. So there were questions back then. But now the county pension board has agreed to another huge increase in the fees that they pay Partridge and his partners, Salient. County Treasurer Dan McAllister says it's about 5 times more than the current contract, and it could amount to more than $7 million a year. He says the industry standard for managing a fund of more than $2 billion is closer to $1 million a year. He said he's afraid the county pension board is being hornswaggled. That's the term he used.
So what does the county pension board say justifies that big fee increase?
Well, the pension fund CEO Brian White said it's worth it because of the excellent returns over the past 3 years. He says the returns are in the top 1% of all public pension funds over $1 billion. McAllister is calling for an independent review of the contract. He says Partridge's returns are just so far above everyone else's, 6 times more than the city's pension fund, for example, that it's a long shot that he can repeat his success. White, however, says the fund has already got a company monitoring the contract, Hewitt Ennis Nutt, and he believes more review is unnecessary.
That's KPBS reporter Allison St. John. Thank you, Allison. On our weekly roundtable, Peggy Pico finds out more about why the state nixed more than half of San Diego's redevelopment projects and what that means to the city budget.
The State Department of Finance said no to 60% of San Diego's request for redevelopment funds for projects including the downtown homeless shelter, which is nearly complete. Here with more details are KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr and Roger Sholey, who covers growth and development at UT San Diego. Thank you for continuing to update us on this really kind of rather complicated story. Roger, tell us why the state has power over San Diego's redevelopment projects in the first place.
Well, the state eliminated redevelopment agencies last year, and it became effective February 1st. So every 6 months, they look through the list of enforceable obligations that the cities have to continue certain projects. And this last week, they said, after meeting with the city of San Diego and all the other agencies in San Diego County and all over the state, 250 of them, they said, you can do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And in the case of what you're talking about, the homeless shelter, it was a little bit of an odd decision because the money had to do with a overrun on their budget. It's the Connections housing project at 6th and A downtown.
That was one of them, the homeless project, I think.
Right.
How much money?
Like
$4 million?
$4 million or so.
Right, but then there was also $5 million that was directed on the affordable housing. How was that different?
Well, it's on the $4 million, it had to do with the overrun of the construction, and they had to find a solution, so they got historic tax credits to make up the difference. And the $5 million, what do you mean for that?
I think that for affordable housing, Katie, it was the $20 million, right?
So it's the second project a few blocks away. That was a new project, hasn't started yet, and the city had agreed or had found a way to give them about $20 million in bond money. And because of certain deadlines, the state said, no, you can't have that money. And this week they were supposed to close escrow on all the financing, start construction first of the year, and now the developer is in the lurch about what am I supposed to do with this project? How am I going to make up the difference?
And not just the developer, Katie, this is going to cost the city some big money, especially because some of these plans actually were obligations, right?
Right. The city redevelopment had been paying for the payment on Petco Park, which is about $11 million a year, and $3 million a year to pay for the second expansion of the convention center. And the city had tried to lump those payments into these ongoing enforceable obligations, and they said, no, you can't. So that's essentially $13 million that the city is going to have to cover, which they were anticipating. Former Mayor Jerry Sanders had sort of counted on that. But that's more bad news for San Diego, because on top of that, San Diego has to implement Proposition B next year, which is the pension initiative, switching most new employees from a pension to a 401k system. And that's going to cost about $30 million. So those two sums together, about $41 million, Mayor Bob Filner says is really going to put the city in a deficit situation next year as the city tries to cover those costs.
So $13 million on the redevelopment obligations, and then another almost $30 million. That almost $30 million with Proposition B, Roger, that came up just for this year's fiscal year, which starts in July. Is that something in the long term that's going to hurt us, or do you think it'll benefit the city?
Well, out of $1 billion budget, I'm sure they can deal with that. They have $160 million or so of reserves, I recall. So I think this year they can deal with it. I think it's the long term that everyone should be looking at, and that is that by eliminating redevelopment, you have, in the case of San Diego City, about $100 million a year they used to get from redevelopment. Now they're only getting $17 million plus leftover money for bond payments. So in the big picture, and in many other elements of the city budget, they're going to have shortfalls as we go along.
Right, and they always knew that they were going to have to pay more money to implement Prop B, because you have to speed up your payments, because you're essentially shutting out the pension system and switching to a new one, and that takes money. The final tally is surprising to some people, especially people who were not in favor of Prop B in the first place. They say, oh, this is a lot more than you told us it was going to be. But I feel like the supporters of Prop B were always very clear that it will cost money initially, but then you see that drop off, and in about 6 years we should start recognizing the savings, but it's just how do you get through that?
Right, it kind of smarts right now, but in the end, it might save the cities a lot more money if they can pay that off quicker. Katie, let me ask you this. There were a couple of programs, 40% of the redevelopment plans were spared or were said okay. The state said it was okay to do. What were some of those?
Well, one of the most notable ones that Roger reported on, and that it's been in the news a lot, is the Phase 1 of the North Embarcadero Visionary Plan, which is the plan that's it's sort of a county plan, a port plan, a San Diego plan. Everyone's contributing, and it beautifies the area along the Embarcadero downtown. And Phase 1 focuses on the area around Harbor Drive and Broadway Pier, and that was about, I think, $26 million or so. Yeah, and the bottom line is the state decided that, yes, that's an obligation because it got underway before the decision to eliminate redevelopment went into effect, and so that can keep going.
And I think more important is that they recognize that there are many bond payments that are continuing for the next 20 years or so. So there really wasn't any question about approving those obligations. They're legal hits on the city, and the redevelopment source will continue for that. It's some of these projects that haven't started yet, and more important than downtown is all the neighborhoods, all the street improvements, the lights, the parks, the libraries, all these things that older communities that we're counting on are now stuck. And that's the big question: is how are they going to find money for these long-wanted projects?
And that's a question we'll have to explore a little bit later because we are out of time. So Roger Cholet and KPBS reporter Katie Orr, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
One of the biggest urban parks in the United States is about to get bigger. Mission Trails Regional Park in San Diego is adding more than 1,000 acres next year. It's the latest chapter in the story of building an open space park through decades of deals with developers and the U.S. government. KPBS reporter Tom Futch has that story.
Mission Trails Park is what San Diego used to be. Its 5,800 acres of mountains and river valley let people imagine a countryside that is untouched by modern life. And now Mission Trails will add another piece of wilderness in the city of San Diego. Matt Sanford is the senior park ranger for Mission Trails.
It's been really untouched for a long, long time, but as I said, a really, really well-preserved nice section of open space land out here.
The land he's talking about is about 1,300 acres of now privately owned land. It's just north of an undeveloped part of Miramar Air Station and east of I-15. The site has been equipped with a parking lot and 6 miles of hiking trails. In the coming few months, it will become city property and part of Mission Trails Park. One thing you need to know about these 1,300 acres is this new part of Mission Trails is not contiguous with the existing park. In fact, there's about 10 miles that separate the park from this area. So how are people even going to know it's Mission Trails?
We're going to put a big sign up that's going to say it's Mission Trails.
Dorothy Leonard is a former San Diego planning commissioner who has been called the mother of Mission Trails for her decades of work acquiring the parkland.
It's close to downtown. It's a people's park. It was started by citizens like myself working with elected officials.
Leonard says Mission Trails Park began with the city's purchase of Coles Mountain in 1974. Later, the city added the Mission Gorge area where the San Diego River flows and Lake Murray and its surroundings. The Miramar Air Station is nearby, and sometimes you hear their aircraft flying overhead. These grasslands, which are part of Mission Trails, used to be military land. They called it Camp Elliott. In fact, sometimes they still search these lands for unexploded shells. Acquiring land from the U.S. military is just one of the ways Mission Trails Park has been cobbled together over the years. The history of Mission Trails includes a multitude of deals cut with the neighboring civilization. The acres being added next year are walking distance from a new development called Stonebridge Estates. Not surprising, since the city is getting the new parkland from the developer in return for allowing the housing to be built. Jim Medaffer represented the Mission Trails area on the city council during the past decade. That's when developer Corky McMillan wanted to start building homes.
And I thought, why don't we figure out a way that we could allow McMillan to do what they want to do in providing future housing for new residents or people that want to move up in San Diego, and at the same time be able to add to our open space.
And as the city plans to add those northern acres next year, it's also planning to add another 2,800 acres just north of the existing park. But doing that depends on dealing with a landfill. The Sycamore landfill, owned by Republic Services, is in the center of that additional block of open space across Route 52. Landfill manager Neil Moore says his company has already donated 200 acres to Mission Trails Park, and in about 30 years, the landfill will be closed, and he hopes become part of the park as well.
Well, we're really working toward a closure plan, and we're trying to blend it in with the surrounding hills, and then we'll revegetate it. So when we're ultimately finished, we'd like to be available for the hiking trail to come from maybe right where we are here and then connect down and on top of the landfill and see it as a network adding to Mission Trails Regional Park.
For now, Ranger Matt Sanford and his staff have to think about eradicating non-native plants and maintaining trails on the new property. Jim Medaffer says San Diegans should remember that expanding open space comes at a cost.
You could always say, well, God's taken care of it just fine all these years, but at the end of the day, you got to keep people from off-roading in it. You've got to keep signs up. You've got to protect the public. Let them know about rattlesnakes. Let them know about unexploded ordnance. Let them know about things that might be issues within a particular area that they're in the park.
San Diego was recently ranked in the top 10 among American city park systems, mainly because of its impressive acreage. Mission Trails is the city's biggest park, so you have to say it's helped put San Diego parks on the map. Tom Fudge.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next News Hour, Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan on the Newtown shootings, plus the analysis of Shields and Gerson. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
Bit of a disappointment for San Diego State in the Poinsettia Bowl this week. After leading BYU for the first 3 quarters of the game, the Aztecs fumbled. The Cougars turned it around, scored a couple of touchdowns in 17 seconds, and the final score was BYU 23, San Diego State 6. Stormy weather in other parts of the country is causing headaches for travelers at Lindbergh Field. Dozens of flights are delayed tonight. Airport officials advise passengers to keep in touch with their airlines for the status of their flights. Tomorrow and Sunday are expected to be very busy days at the airport. People traveling on Sunday will want their umbrellas. The National Weather Service says rain is heading our way. A new storm is expected to arrive on Sunday. Coastal temperatures will be in the low 60s in the daytime, 50s at night. About the same in the inland areas, just a little bit colder at night. Mountain temperatures will drop into the 30s at night over the weekend. The desert is the only area expected to stay dry with temperatures in the 70s.
In tonight's Public Square, you may recall KPBS reporter Tom Fudge sipped on recycled gray water in a recent report about turning San Diego sewage into drinking water.
Here in Orange County, you can take the ultimate test of whether recycling wastewater actually works. This is newly recycled wastewater. Tastes like water.
Well, turning wastewater into drinking water, no matter how good it tastes, was hard to swallow for some, including Radio Free, who wrote this alternative suggestion on our website. It makes more sense to recycle gray water before going for backwater. I'm not sure if he really meant to say black water, but he did go on to say San Diego can do much more with conservation and gray water recycling. Matthew Van Natta didn't see a problem with filling a cup up with upcycled water. On our Facebook page, he wrote, "All the water on Earth has been something's waste in the past." And Chris Heistand backed that statement up with his own, saying arguments against recycled water are childish or foolish. Reclamation should happen everywhere it's cost effective. You can join in on this conversation or comment on any KPBS news story by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
We all know that memories are fleeting, and maybe none more so than those of a child. A local artist has spent the last 6 months collecting the favorite memories of children who live in City Heights. KPBS arts reporter Angela Carone shows us the resulting artwork.
Each of these cabinets contains stories of childhood.
I went to Dylan's candy store. Everything was made of candy. There was ice cream, regular tasting candy, and there was Halloween candy.
Stories of adolescence, and ultimately stories of an entire community, that of City Heights.
I thought, well, how beautiful would it be to incorporate several components of a community, bringing a whole community together to honor and cherish the precious memories of these small children.
The artwork is called "The Nature of a Door is to be Opened," and it's on view at the City Heights Center. Artist and City Heights resident Brandy Madalena recorded the favorite memories of close to 250 young children for the piece. Sean is a third grader at Central Elementary School.
I want you to listen to this story.
His favorite memory was his 8th birthday party.
I felt proud of myself that I can actually get up to this age, because who knows, maybe I'll grow up to be 1,000. I don't know.
This is the first time Sean is hearing his story since he recorded it. Inside the cabinet is also a sculpture built by an older student who chose Sean's story as inspiration.
So when you open the cabinet, you hear the small child's favorite memory, you see the sculpture from the middle or high school student, and then it lights up. Most of them you can actually touch carefully.
12-year-old Cynthia Barone Broussard built one of the sculptures based on a little girl's memory of a purple treehouse.
This is like supposed to be the scene of the woods. So I put a little bit of myself into it by putting like the things that I liked. So the skeleton key, I think those are really cool. And the Eiffel Tower is something that I really like. And then an amethyst rock, old coins, old books, an old Rolls Royce, a car that I would want to have, and music. I really like to sing.
A lot of the memories were more urban. You had things like little kids talking about their city bus trips, you know, and that's not something you would find in a rural town. Some of the stories were about families immigrating to the United States and landing in City Heights.
There are 48 cabinets in all, each with a story and sculpture as unique as the kids who created them. Madalena applied for a Creative Catalyst grant from the San Diego Foundation to do the project. She says she's motivated now more than ever to involve young children in her art making.
I feel like my role as an artist in the community, and specifically working with kids, is absolutely imperative. What I hope to do is I hope to bring arts to kids that don't tend to have them or that have a limited version of that education.
For Sean, a project like this takes him back to a day when his large family gathered to celebrate him.
It was like a rising star moment for me.
Angela Carone, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us and have a great evening.